Hi friends, this is Meredith from the Papery Craftery. Today I am going to be showing you how to make a quick quilling paper tulip. This is a flower that I developed for my website a couple of years ago, and it's a really great beginner flower, so it's great for those who are just starting off with quilling, and I think it's something that everybody can do, and I hope you enjoy. For these tulips, you really only need a couple of very basic quilling supplies. I'm going to be demonstrating with two different shades of pink quilling paper. These strips are about 17 inches long. I'm also going to be using a very standard needle tool, my white glue in a needle-nosed dispenser bottle, and I'm also going to be using a cork board with a guide on one side. This is not necessary for this type of flower, but it does make a more even coil, and I thought I'd just show it while I had it out. First, you're going to make sure that one end of your quilling paper strip is torn, because you're going to be gluing that later, and you always like to glue on a torn edge. Roll one of your paper strips all the way from top to bottom. Sometimes I like to take my coils off my tool and do them by hand, especially when it gets towards the end. It just gets to be a little bit easier that way. Once you have your coil completely done, if you're using one of these guides, just place your coil in the center of one of the holes and let it open up naturally. Repeat this exact thing for two more strips of the same color quilling paper. After you've finished rolling 3 quilling strips, you're going to want to glue the torn edge to complete the coil and make sure it stays secure. As soon as you glue that end, you can start forming your tulip petals. There's only going to be 3 petals for each flower. Like I said, this is a very, very basic shape. Continue gluing and pinching your other 2 coils to make all 3 tulip petals. When you're trying to make a more even teardrop shape, it's a good idea if you hold the center of your coil with one hand and pinch with the other instead of holding the outside. That will keep the center of your coil in the middle of your shape. Now you have your 3 tulip petals, and we can move on to the next step. To add a little bit of visual interest to these flower petals, I like to wrap the outside with a contrasting sheet of paper. I've used light and I've also used darker colors, and they both look equally nice when they're done. So to start, I tear off an edge, because again, you always like to glue a torn edge for a more finished look. I like to glue that right at the tip of the teardrop, and then I wrap the strip around 3 times. I found I don't really have to add any more glue as I'm wrapping. It does stay perfectly fine without. And when I get to the 3rd wrap, I tear off the excess, add a little bit more glue, and pinch it again to make sure everything stays. Once your teardrops are wrapped, you can now start forming your flower petals. One of the petals is going to be the center of the tulip, and I like to push down into the middle of the teardrop to make it look a little bit more squat. The other two petals are going to be the outside of the flower, and for those I use either my hand or the handle of one of my tools to bend the tip outward to give it more of a curved look. And once you have your petals shaped, you can start putting a little bit of glue on the inside edge of the two curved petals, and then place the center petal right on top. You might have to adjust this, move it around a little bit till you get the shape you want, but essentially it's a very basic opening, blooming tulip. You can use these tulips any way you would use your other quilling paper flowers. I like to add some big broad leaves made from swirls. I just did a post about how to make quilling paper swirls, and I'll link to that below in the description box. You can use any color you'd like to. You can make the petals larger or smaller. Again, try wrapping with different types of paper on the outside. I really like the ones that look a little bit darker on the outside. I think that looks pretty cool.
And that's how you make quilling paper tulips. I hope this tutorial went really easy for you. Like I said, this is one that pretty much everyone can do, no matter if they just started quilling today or have been doing it for 10 years. This one is great for all levels. If you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, you're gonna wanna do that right now. I am going to be making a lot more videos and a lot more tutorials, some new, some old. You also might want to check out my website to see what other tutorials I've made in the past. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I'll see you next time.